Okay, we're back, finally. Okay, well, we're going to continue our journey into the challenge of life. Now,
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.
now, a lot of you will be like, why is he calling it a challenge? And it's like, for me personally, I don't like the word test. You know, when the day I finished school was the greatest day of my life, I was like, yes, school's over. I've done my tests, I've done my exams, I'm done with tests. I was like so excited, and I know a lot of you are the same. You're like, oh, alhamdulillah, the tests are done. And then life hits you, and then you're done with school, but then life hits you. And then you've got other things, you've got a mortgage, you've got a job, you got loans. You know, life can sometimes get you down. But the reason I use the word challenge, I mean, with me, right? I get excited by a challenge. If I say to somebody, I'm going to test you on your knowledge of Islam, they'll be like, most people like, you just out of the blue, like if I came to your house and went, I'm going to test you, and I'm going to go, yeah, cool, you know, and it's an opportunity to excel. No, they're going to go, oh, man, I'm tired, I just came home, I worked, you know, leave me alone, ask me tomorrow, ask me when I'm free, ask me on my day off. But if I came to your place right now and said, I challenge you to prove to me how you excel in Islam. And they're like, ooh, got a challenge. I'm going to prove to this guy something. It's a different mentality in your mind. Your mind goes, ooh, challenge, yeah. You know, I don't know what it is about us. I mean, humans, like, we generally like sports, you know, and a lot of us are like, ooh, the challenge of getting it done, the challenge of completing, you know, winning that prize. But you'd like instantly, just the challenge of winning that instant self is its own prize. And this is why I use that word challenge. Whenever you are faced with life's difficulties, you know, whenever life is getting you down and you feel like, oh, why me? Remember my words, I'm telling you now, it's a challenge to be better today than you were ever yesterday. And remember that, if you're being challenged by your maker, rise up to the challenge. Don't go, maker, why are you challenging me? Choose someone else, choose him, choose her. I don't want to be challenged, leave me alone. I want to sit here and live my life. No, rise up to the challenge, I'm telling you. Accept it as a challenge. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is testing you. Your maker is testing you to do the right thing. You know, when you're in a situation, you're like, you've done something wrong and you're going to be in trouble. Because even as adults that happens, you're like, I've done something wrong, I'm going to be in trouble. You know, our first instinct is lie. Is shaitan in that is, lie, just lie, it'll be okay. Don't worry about it, just lie. And you're like, I don't want to lie. And then you're like, oh, I don't want to get in trouble. And then I'll get charged, I'll be billed. And you think to yourself, okay, and then you come up with a lie, you start scheming, and that's when you know you're in trouble. That's when you've gone off the wrong path. Because remember, life's challenge is about how we react to life's challenges. So when that first instinct comes to lie, because it will come to us, this shaitan will tell you, lie through your teeth. You know, it's the same way children are taught, lie through your teeth. Remember that in Islam, we as Muslims, we shouldn't be lying. You know, don't fill your mouth with lies. So, you know, our tongue and our mouth will be called to account for what we did. If you say, no, I didn't do this, our tongue will actually testify against us. So if you lied now, remember, think of your tongue with a little like mouth on it and says, he lied! It was him! He lied! He knows he lied! You're like, okay, it was me! It was me! I'm sorry! I lied! I was a coward! So remember that, you know? And an example I really want to give you, an example that really drives this point home for all of you Muslims out there is the Prophet Ayub alayhi salam. You know, Ayub alayhi salam, he had it all. Well, I mean, like what we would consider all, like obviously not, he didn't have everything because that'd be like impossible. But he had it going on, you know, he had notoriety, he had sons, he had an estate, he had land, he had like farm, land and cows, as far as we know, like from the hadith and thing. I wasn't there myself, but as far as we know. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decided to test him. So, one by one, he lost everything. He lost his land, he lost his cows, lost his cattle, to the same thing. He lost his children, he lost his house. He ended up like living a really destitute life. He lost everything. He basically lost everything until he just had his health. And you know, every time he lost something, he lost children that were dear to him. You know, he lost children that were dear to him. And he said, Alhamdulillah, you know, Allah is testing me, Alhamdulillah, thank you Allah, you know. And then the next step would come, he would lose his health to the point where he couldn't do anything. And his wife was forced to work. Imagine how hard that is. Your husband, Ayub alayhi salam, can't work. And you, his wife, are there like, oh, I have to provide for him. And I also have to take care of him. I'm worried sick about this man I love so dearly. You know, she must have been going through all kinds of heck in her heart because she's worried sick about her husband. And yet her husband never once stopped saying, Alhamdulillah. He never stopped praising his maker for all the good he'd got him. Until the point where she said, when will this stop? Ayub alayhi salam, when will this stop? And he said, how long was I giving goodness? And it was like 70 years. And it's like, how long have I been suffering? It's like 8 years. And it's like, you compare the two. Allah gave me goodness for 70 years. And they just give me 8 years. And we're already saying, oh, when will this stop? Well, I can't take it anymore. So yeah, you can't even compare the two. And when you're down, remember his story, Ayub alayhi salam. Remember how it wasn't until his wife, his beloved wife, you know, she, as a last resort, because at the end people are like, oh, we don't want to know you. Go away. Go away. We don't want to know you. Your husband's sick. You're going to be having contagion. You're going to get it to us. Like, people understood. You know, if one guy's got a cold, if his wife, you know, was around him, obviously she's going to pass it on to you. You know, it's like basic understanding. They probably, I wasn't there myself, so I don't know, I can't speak for them, but they probably weren't as, you know, intelligent as we are, but they have basic understanding. You know, if someone's sick, you don't want to like associate with anybody even like in coming in contact with them. So they're like, no, we don't employ you. So now she had no money, she had no way of earning money. Her husband, Ayub alayhi salam, was so sick that he could barely move. And eventually she said, okay, I'm going to cut my hair. So she goes out, she cuts her hair and sells it. And so she comes home, she's preparing him dinner, and Ayub notices two things. Firstly, where the heck did she get the food from? Secondarily, why is she covering her hair at home? And he's like, oh, wife, dear, why are you covering your hair? Where did you get this food? She was like, you know, I sorted out, don't worry. And the next day, you know, because that's just one day. You eat all the food, you eat all the leftovers, there's nothing left after that. The next day, she's like, just got a little bit of hair left. Might as well get rid of it. You know, she went like me, you know. So she like, and the last of her hair was gone. And she couldn't even face her husband. She came home. She must have been feeling really bad. You know, you betray your husband's trust. You must have been feeling so bad. Ayub alayhi salam. Then it was only at that time where Ayub alayhi salam turned to his maker and he said, oh my love, please ease for us our burdens. And in a hadith, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to him, strike your foot on the ground, or strike the ground, and water came up, and Ayub went in and he was healed. All his wounds were healed to the point where when his wife returned, she didn't even recognize her husband. You know, Ayub alayhi salam before then had looked so sickly that when he'd completely healed, he looked completely different. And yet, he is such a great example, you know, to us Muslims of how we can persevere and be patient in the face of life's challenges. So whenever life gets you down, whenever life really has you on your ground, on your knees, remember that firstly, people have had it 10 times worse than you. Secondarily, Ayub alayhi salam's had it infinitely worse than you. And thirdly, remember that your Maker is there with you. You are never alone. Remember that when you are on your knees and you are like, oh, Ya Allah, please. Remember that this is a challenge to overcome adversity. And dig deep down within your soul and say, oh Allah, I trust you. Oh Allah, you're my Maker, you're my provider, you're my sustainer. Above all else, I trust you. I trust you to provide for me, Allah. And then be thankful for what you have. Make a list of all the good things that you have in life, and remember your Maker and be Allah. Please forgive me. Be Allah, thank you for everything you've given me. And we have reached the end of the segment. So the last section is the final one. We're going to round this off with a third video. And I invite you all, please come with me to goodness. Come with me, watch the last video, and I'll go over the tips on how to overcome life's adversities, how to overcome life's challenges, and how to step up to the plate when adversity knocks on your door. So please, my name's Abdul Karim, and come with me to goodness.